What's going on, guys? Hey, in this video, I'm gonna show you how you can make $50,000 without working a single hour for it. So if you wanna know how I did that and how you can do it too, watch this video. Let's go. What's going on, guys? Hey, if you're new to the channel, my name is Logan Manzanares. I'm a business owner, I'm a fitness professional. I'm also a real estate investor. We have currently 12 doors and we have 2 more under contract, and we're on our path to get over 100 doors by the end of 2022. So if you want to join us on this journey and you want to hear about how to create passive income through real estate, then please like this channel, subscribe, let's go. All right, guys, so I'm going to share with you how you can put $50,000 in your pocket without working a single hour for it. Now, number one thing, you must own a home, right? This could be a primary home, this could be an investment home, but in order to make this work, you must own a home. So hey, if you don't own a home currently, it's okay, because you still want to watch this video so you know why you want to buy a home, so you can use the strategy once you actually get your first property. All right, so what we're gonna talk about, guys, is how you can put $50,000 in your pocket without working a single hour for it. And this is really cool because we're not gonna sell your home, because if you sell your home, then you have to pay capital gains on that, potentially, and you don't have an asset anymore that kicks off the cash flow, or you don't have a place to live in. So I'm gonna show you how to do that without having to sell your home whatsoever. So without further ado, here's what we're gonna do, is we're not gonna do a HELOC, we're actually gonna do a cash out refi, right? Cash out refi. And so here's what you do. All right, so here's what you can do, is you're gonna go to the bank, you're gonna tell them that you wanna do a cash out refi. And what they're gonna do is they're gonna give you an estimate of what your house is worth. Right? And so you do want to do this piece first, because if your home isn't worth more than at least 80% of what you want to pull out of it, there's no point in doing a cash out refi. And so that's really the key to this whole process, is that you have to have a bunch of equity in your home. So this means that you either bought a long time ago, or you live in a place that's appreciating super, super fast, or the best of both worlds, you live in a place where you own the home for a long time and it's appreciating really fast, and now you have a ton of equity sitting in this home and you want to be able to scoop it up, and so you can use that equity, because ultimately equity sitting in your house is money that you can be using to buy more homes. And so think about this, if you have 1 property, 2 property, 3 property, imagine if you had 7, 8, 9, 10, and those are all appreciating super fast right now. Like, that's how you gotta be thinking right now. So what you need to do is you need to go to the bank and say, hey, like, what is this home worth? Or you can even look it up on what this home is worth. Talk to a real estate agent and see what all the comps are in your area. Get a general idea of what your home is worth. And that way you can see if this is even a good option for you or not. Now, it might be, and so once it is, what you need to determine is like, okay, well, if it's gonna estimate about this much, well, how much is left in there? So let's give you a really good example here. So stay with me. All right, so the example we're gonna use is, let's say your home is worth $350,000. So this is actually what the national median homes in America is worth, $350,000, okay? Now, let's say you actually owe $230,000 on this $350,000 home, which means you have $150,000 of equity. Great, awesome, good job. However, you can't take all that equity out unless you were to sell the home, which again, we don't want to sell the home because then we lose the asset, and we lose the cash flow, or you lose the place to live in. So instead, we're going to try to scoop that equity out without selling it, which also another key factor is when you do scoop that money out, you don't pay taxes on it. Where you would, if you sold it, you definitely pay tax on it because it's immediate capital gains, whereas this is it's just considered debt. A refinance is just considered debt, so you don't get taxed on debt. Super, super, super cool. So let's say again, your home's worth $350,000, you owe $230,000 on it, and so the bank will lend you up to 80% of that $350,000, which means that they will give you another loan at $280,000. So what a cash out refinance is literally just like redoing a whole new loan. And so that means that if you had your loan for 5 years now and you have 25 years that paid off, it means you have 25 years to go. A refi is going to reset it all the way back to 30 years. So if your goal is that you want to pay off your home completely, well, this is not the best strategy for you. And I'm going to also say like, why? Like, why do you want to actually pay your home off? Because it's to make you feel better, make you sleep better at night. But ultimately, like, what you're doing is you're leaving a lot of money on the table, especially in this times right now where inflation is like sky high, it's through the roof. Like, you're literally just like every single time, every single day, your dollar has less and less purchasing power. And so the greatest thing about real estate is that it's a hedge against inflation. Because as you see, as the dollar goes down, guess what the price of real estate does? It goes up. And so it's one of your best hedges against inflation is having real estate. And so again, if you have 1 or 2, imagine if you had 3 or 4. What if you have 5 or 6? And the more of those you do, the better your hedge against inflation. So now what you want to do, so once you do that cash refi, again, it's going to reset at 30 years. You're going to potentially maybe get a lower interest rate. So maybe you have had your home for a real long time. Maybe you're in the 4 or 5% interest rates. Right now it's at a record time low. So it's below 3% for a primary. And then again, for investment properties, it's a totally different ball game. You're definitely going to pay at least probably a point, if not a point and a half more. But either regardless, depending on when you bought this, the interest rates are lower for both primaries and for investment properties right now. And so you're probably going to get a lower interest rate. and you'll reset that at 208,000, which means what's the gap between 280 and 230,000? You guessed it, it's $50,000. So you have to basically put this $50,000 in your pocket, tax-free. Now, here's the other thing people are gonna ask, like, what happens with my mortgage? Well, again, it depends on what your interest rate is. Maybe if you're at a 5% interest rate, now you went down to a 2.75% interest rate, like your rate might not go up very, very much. Or excuse me, your monthly payment might not go up very much. Now, I did a calculation where if my rate was 3.5% and I dropped down to 2.75% in this example, then my payment would go about $227 a month. So if your payment goes up about a little over $200 a month, you're like, oh, well, now my payment goes up. That kind of sucks. But think about this. What are you actually doing with that $50,000? Well, if you're smart, what you should do is just use the $50,000 and you should buy, you guessed it, more real estate, and specifically cash flowing real estate. And so let's say that you use that $50,000 and you buy an investment property that now kicks off $500 of cash flow, but now your primary or the home that you refinance goes up $225. Well, you still have a net of over $250, closer to $275. And now you also have two properties. So now you have more cash flow, you have $250 extra cash flow, and you have two properties that are also appreciating in these times where I don't see how homes are gonna go down over the long term. Of course, we might have a correction, might have things like that, but over the long term, like most likely, as long as you buy it right, the real estate is most likely gonna go up. And so now you have two properties that are going up rather than just one. And so that's the coolest thing about real estate. Is that literally you just make money while you're sleeping. It's one of my things that my uncle told me when I was a young kid. It's something that stuck with me forever. He's like, you know what, Logan? He's like, you're not making money until you're making money while you're sleeping. And I remember hearing that as a young kid, and I didn't really understand what it meant. And now it's like the thing I look for every single day. It's like, how do I make money without me actually doing the work? How do I make money without I use my assets, use my investment properties to make money for me? And that's just by buying the right markets. And ultimately, real estate is literally just the best hedge against inflation. So that is one of the coolest parts about real estate is you can literally take this money out and you can go buy another one. This is how you're able to buy multiple homes over and over again by using the same money. You don't have to continue to go make $50,000 when you can just literally scoop up the equity you already have inside your home. Here's another really cool part that I found out by refinancing 3 homes in the last 3 months is that when you refinance your home, you actually get to quote unquote skip a payment. And so what happens when they refinance, you get the check and then they set your mortgage to come out either 45 to maybe even 60 days after that comes through. So here's the crazy part. Is that you normally would have a mortgage due on the first of the month, but the first month that you refinance it, you're definitely not gonna have a mortgage. And depending on when they refinance it, you might not have another mortgage for 2 more payments down the road, which means that actually using the same example where I said you got an increase of $225, well, let's say you actually don't have that first payment. Well, it actually is gonna take you almost 6.5 months for it to actually you start to see a difference in your payment because again, you take away that $1,500 payment on month 1 and now you're $227, divide that or divide 1524 minus 227, it's about 6.5 months before it actually catches up. But here's the crazy part, our last property, we actually had 2 payments that got skipped because it hit in that middle of the month window. And so now if you do that, it's gonna take you almost 13.5 months in order for you to actually feel that difference in your increased payment, which is freaking crazy, which means in 13 months, you could actually technically maybe be able to refinance again, do it all over again, depending on how crazy the market, if it keeps going up or not. So this is why refinancing your home right now is like a no-brainer. It's a steal of a deal. Interest rates are all-time low. Inflation is going up right now. And you know what? You don't want to miss out on this opportunity to literally make money while you're sleeping. So hey, if you like this and you want to hear more, please like this video, subscribe. I'm going to be coming more with more little cool tips and help you to create a passive income that's going to transform your life forever so you can do what you want with who you want, however much you want to do it. So my name is Logan Manzanares and I'll be chatting with you guys soon. All right, bye.